Good morning. Welcome to Wilfrid Laurier University's 2023 Spring Convocation. The ceremony will begin in a few moments when the graduating students enter the auditorium. Please remain seated while the students are entering. When all students have taken their places, there will be a brief pause. Then the music will continue, and the officers and the faculty of the university will enter and take their place. Please rise as you are able and remain standing while the official party enters. I would also like to draw your attention to the 4 exits on the lower level and the 2 locations on the balcony level. If it becomes necessary to clear the auditorium during the ceremony, the volunteers will assist you to these exits. We trust that you will enjoy this convocation ceremony.
morning, and welcome to Spring Convocation 2023. I am Eileen Mercier, Chancellor of Wilfrid Laurier University. Convocation is now in session. Please be seated. Laurier's Waterloo and Brantford campuses are located on the shared traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. This land is part of the Dish with One Spoon Treaty between the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples and symbolizes the agreement to share, protect our resources, and not to engage in conflict. Wilfrid Laurier's campuses are close to 18 First Nations communities and 12 Métis councils. So we strive to improve our relationship with the land and people with whom we share it. Acknowledging them reminds us of our important connection to this land, where we live, learn, and work. We recognize, honor, and respect these nations as the traditional stewards since time immemorial of the lands and water on which Laurier is now present. We are grateful to hold this convocation ceremony on these lands today. As Chancellor, it is my honor and pleasure to be the one to confer upon you the degrees and diplomas which you have earned while here at Laurier. It is truly wonderful that we are back to celebrating convocation as we did before the pandemic. We are all so proud of you who had to endure much in order to complete your studies. The pandemic affected all studies to some degree, but my heart goes out to those who began your undergraduate degree in 2019. You hardly had a chance to adjust to university life before it was all taken away. We applaud your tenacity and resilience and congratulate you on your accomplishment. One would be forgiven for being a bit depressed at the fact that there is so much news these days that is not good. Not good for people and not good for the planet. However, when I look out at the audience today, I'm once again struck by the fact that education is the single most important tool we have for changing the world for the better. In a world where provable truth, goodness, thoughtfulness, and care for the welfare of others seems harder than ever to find, you who have had the privilege of a fine and rigorous education have a responsibility to use what you have learned, not only for your own benefit, but for the benefit of others. We are so fortunate in Canada, where we are able to debate truth and the relevance of any fact, and criticize our government if it needs it, work for change, and challenge the status quo. There are many countries where that is not true, and it seems that there are more of those than ever before. There are millions of children who get no education, especially girls. This we all have to work to change. Challenging those who would have power over us is a dangerous business in many places. It is not so here, as long as it is done within our legal framework. And if new legislation is needed, there are ways to work to influence that too. Knowing what or whom to trust is not simple. The debate over artificial intelligence brings that sharply into focus. It could be enormously beneficial in, for instance, eliminating the time spent on routine repetitive tasks, or speeding up the time to find cures for intractable diseases. It could also lead us into believing things that are either not true at all or biased in subtle ways that produce harmful outcomes. You have been trained to analyze and question in ways that many have not had the opportunity to do. Work hard to use what you have learned to bring out the best of these new technologies and reject the worst. This will be the legacy of your generation. Separating fact from fiction is difficult, There is an old saying about not believing everything you read in the newspaper. However, the idea that media, whether delivered over television, in print, or in social media outlets, set out deliberately to spread lies and misinformation is a new phenomenon, and one which we need to fight against with every breath. Again, use those skills you have learned here, whether scientific, statistical, or cultural, to dig deep to find the truth and spread that word. Then, once you have decided whom or what to trust, be loyal to those people, to that cause, to that field of study or work. Loyalty is underrated. You have received a wonderful education here at Laurier, as did I. Next year, it will be 60 years since I arrived here, a naive but eager 17-year-old. This university gave me so much that I am happy now to give back. I urge you to do the same. Stay close to the friends you have made here, to the faculty that nurtured you, and to the institution as a whole. If you want help with your choices of career or life, there are lots of people here eager to help you. So now, go out. Make yourself, your family, and your university proud. Congratulations to you all. Stay forever golden. I would now like to welcome Dr. Deborah McClatchy, President and Vice Chancellor, to bring greetings.
Thank you, Madam Chancellor. Good morning. Before we move ahead with today's proceedings, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce some of our colleagues who are participating in today's ceremony. Joining me on stage is our beadle who carried the mason today, Dr. Edmund Pries, Dr. Sophie LaChapelle, the Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Dr. Maria Cantalina Williams, Dean of the Faculty of Education, and Jennifer Casey, AVP Enrollment Services and Registrar, who will be hooding our graduates. Welcome to all of our supporters and graduates who are here to celebrate with us today. Congratulations on this remarkable achievement. Graduating from university is a significant accomplishment, and this commencement marks a new chapter in your lives. In the coming years, my hope is that you approach every opportunity and challenge you meet on your journey fully engaged and with the spirit of community, and that you will undergo continued remarkable change and growth as you've experienced during your time at Laurier. Humanity is facing complex and interconnected challenges, which will require community-minded citizens who aren't afraid to strike out, challenge old assumptions, and put forward new ideas. You will find yourselves called on to address difficult challenges in both your personal and professional lives. Situations where there are varying degrees of solutions, perhaps conflicting paths forward, and maybe no true right answer. Life, after all, isn't a multiple choice test. When that happens, let your actions and decisions be guided by not only what you have learned at Laurier, but also the people around you and your full life experience. I urge you to embrace the spirit of community, as it will shape your values and have positive impact. This will help you create a world in which you want to live, one which can be transformed through engagement and your words and deeds. So why am I so confident that you can accomplish all of this? Because today we are recognizing everything you have already achieved at Laurier. I know that you will find success and make a difference and have impact in your piece of the world, because I see evidence of this every day from our students. In the Faculty of Arts, our students are applying the knowledge and skills they've learned in their courses to affect real change in our communities. Through the Laurier City Hub, students collaborate with municipal partners in the City of Waterloo to find solutions to current challenges. This year, students presented to the mayor their solutions to the challenges of end-of-term bulk waste in university communities, the garbage left behind at festivals and events, and improving online voting in municipal elections. In the Balsillie School of International Policy and Governance, our graduate students are engaged in research and applications to help us better understand topics of global importance in areas ranging from global food policy to democratic values in different countries to human migration and refugee policies. These are just a few of the many examples of our students engaging in exceptional work to improve our communities here and beyond our borders. Because more than ever, humanity needs fresh, bold vision, fresh perspectives, and empathy. And from what I've seen from the past year here at Laurier, this group of graduates already has all that. They don't need to convocate today to begin having impact. They have already experienced and contributed to transformative change here at Laurier and in our communities. Take this Laurier spirit with you into the world by forging new communities and continuing to be fully engaged. The world needs more Laurier. Today, graduates, we are here to celebrate all of your achievements. I'd also like to recognize your family members, your friends, the faculty and staff here at Laurier, and all other supporters who have helped you reach this moment. I know they have played an integral role on this journey, supporting you through the many ups and downs. So I want the graduates here to join me in a special round of applause to recognize the community of family, friends, faculty, and staff who have supported you, allowing you to reach today's monumental achievement. Best wishes for all of your future endeavors. Madam Chancellor, I now have the honor of presenting Wilton Littlechild, the honorary degree recipient this morning. And I now ask that Dr. Alex Latta come to the podium to read the citation.
Madam Chancellor, President and Vice Chancellor McClatchy, fellow colleagues and Laurier co-workers, graduands and guests. My name is Alex Latta. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Global Studies, and it is my great privilege today to present our honorary degree recipient to you. It has been some years since Laurier announced a commitment to indigenization, which is defined on our website as, quote, the incorporation of Indigenous knowledge into the daily life of the university. These simple words represent a complex challenge, one that demands critical self-reflection if we are to honor the moral compass of our land acknowledgement, if we are to meaningfully respond to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action, and if we are to equip our alumni to participate in building new relationships between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people in Canada. If we travel this difficult road towards reconciliation with open eyes and open hearts, there will be gifts of wisdom and inspiration to help us on that journey. Our honorary degree recipient today comes bearing such gifts. Hailing from Ermineskin Cree Nation in central Alberta, Chief Wilton Littlechild is one of the most celebrated Indigenous leaders of his generation. My few words today will hardly do justice to his achievements. A residential school survivor himself, Chief Littlechild is perhaps best known to many Canadians as one of the 3 commissioners for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which completed its work between 2009 and 2015, documenting the legacy of Indian residential schools and calling all Canadians to respond. However, this work is just one notable contribution in a history of legal and political leadership, beginning in 1977, when he was the first Indigenous person to be awarded a law degree at the university, or from Alberta, in Alberta. That same year, he was asked to chair the Second World Conference on Indigenous Peoples, leading to 4 decades of work within the United Nations system, including 2 terms as the North American representative to the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, and a recent term as the chairperson of the UN expert mechanism on the rights of Indigenous peoples. Closer to home, Chief Littlechild served as a member of Parliament for the Alberta riding of Wetaskiwin from 1988 to 1993. From 2001 until 2004, he was chair of Saskatchewan's Commission on First Nations and Métis Peoples and Justice Reform. He was also Grand Chief to the Confederacy of Treaty 6 First Nations between 2016 and 2019. And in 2022, he was part of a delegation that visited the Vatican and then played a leading role hosting Pope Francis in Canada for his historic apology. I would be remiss if I concluded this citation without also noting Chief Littlechild's passion for sport, which began for him as a way of coping with the traumas of residential school and continues today as a way of empowering Indigenous youth to believe in themselves and achieve their goals. In addition to his own impressive achievements as an athlete, he has become a tireless coach and mentor since his university days, including founding the National Indian Athletic Association in 1975, co-founding the North American Indigenous Games in 1990, and playing a key role in launching the World Indigenous Nation Games in 2015. Chief Littlechild is recipient of many awards, including the Order of Canada, the Alberta Order of Excellence, the Tom Longboat Award, the Distinguished Service Award from the Association of Former Parliamentarians, and the Pearson Peace Medal, just to name a few of the most notable. He is also an inductee into Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. Madam Chancellor, it is with great pleasure that I convey instructions from the Senate of the University to request you to admit to the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa, Wilton Littlechild.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
Dr. Littlechild is now signing the official registry of the university. This contains all the signatures of our honorary degree recipients since the university began and is kept in our university archives. And I now have the honor of requesting that Dr. Wilton Littlechild address Convocation.
Tanse do temtik. Nigan kakyo tatamskad na. May gan mohterun sigason. Ego hokuma wihon usaugihu. Nigan ksemanto na naskma. Igok emia sikutak kiskaw eswemgorak. Tatoge kakisitats ksnaumaton. Tatamskad na ki haimana ito kay maga uteni gan status keon kitoto me kapits aski o makigaw inoski ayuak tamiosik. Thank you very much, Madam Chancellor and President. I just spoke my language to introduce myself. My Cree name is Walking Wolf. My chief's name is Golden Eagle. And I saw something this morning, golden hawk. Maybe someday it'll be golden bears. Everything's golden. I was blessed to be on 4 university teams at the U of A, Golden Bears. And if I happen to have played against one of you alumnus or alumni, I didn't mean to beat you so badly. So please forgive me and the rest. But seriously, it's a very, very great honor that has been bestowed on me today. And I'm so grateful for the recognition. Yes, it's been a long journey for me to honor one of the elders' sayings, go where there's no path and leave a trail for someone else. And I say that because when I was in law school, there were only 3 Indigenous lawyers in Canada and 5 law students. And I was one of those 5 to be blessed with that historic part in my life. So today, I want to first of all thank the traditional stewards of these territories. Thank you for the acknowledgement of the lands and the peoples. It's very important that we do that to reunite us, and I'll explain that in a moment. I want to, first of all, also in my Cree way, ask for special blessings be given to all of us, but in particular the graduates. In my language, I spoke and prayed and gave thanksgiving to Great Spirit for this great day, another great day for blessing all of us. I understand you studied international policy and governance. I'm now entering my 4th year in that area of practice. And for some, I still see great futures for you in the study of arts. So let me tell you a little bit about the 46 years I've worked at the United Nations in about 3 minutes. First of all, for those of you who have been studying international policy and governance, you are so, so important. If you look in a mirror at the world, you'll know what I mean with what is going on globally. We need you. And what you've studied here is going to be so valuable and so important. I was raised by my grandparents since I was 2 weeks old. And I remember maybe I was 10 or 12, he said something to me. He said, "Apoy to go with it's Akamay mo. Emiasaki ko katakostain. Kitaskinak. Ikto sa wasak. Kits namawag. What he said was, maybe in the future, you will be given our community in a certain set of circumstances. If that happens, you must work very, very hard. Put something better on the circumstances that you see. And once you've worked hard enough to make it better, then pass it on to the children. I see by the faces in front of me, many of you weren't even born yet when I started on this path at the United Nations, at the Organization of American States. It's been 45 years. It's now going on 46 years. And of those years of work at the United Nations with global leaders, ambassadors, presidents, all global leaders, there's one thing I learned which is a key to success in the international arena for those of you who will be embarking on that journey. And it's diplomacy. Be a diplomat. I know sometimes it's hard to stay with patience, like drafting the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples took us 27 years. And one would wonder, why did it take so long to recognize the rights of Indigenous peoples? A part of that journey was 8 years of trying to convince the UN that we were actually human beings. 8 years that was to be. When I came home, what on like I always did to the UN, I would come back and say, well, we're still fighting over whether or not we're human beings. And one of the old men said, well, what are we then? Are we elk, deer, or moose? And he said, I know why they don't want to recognize us as human beings. Because if they recognize us as human beings, they have to admit we have human rights. And he didn't go to law school, but he hit the nail right on the head. In 1948, when a Universal Declaration on Human Rights was passed, we were not included. Indigenous peoples were forgotten about. So it took us 45 years of work to explain why we wanted to be a part of the humankind with our own rights. It was to catch up to the rest of human development. The same thing with the Organization of American States. It took us 12 years to try to convince that global organization we were indeed now considered human beings at the United Nations. So throughout those years of work, I came to know a lot about what you have studied. And we really, really need you. And I mean that very sincerely because of what we see when you look in the mirror of the globe. Our treaty that was mentioned, and thank you for the kind words in the introduction, is a treaty of peace and friendship. And when we look around the globe today, there isn't that much peace and friendship. That's why you, graduates, first I congratulate you, but say to you, you are very, very important for the future. Those in arts, it was the right path because maybe today you don't know exactly what you want to do, but with a general background that you've studied, you'll find that path. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission was also mentioned, and we worked from coast to coast to coast for 6 years from a court order. It was about 13,000 former students of residential schools finally said, that's enough. We're going to sue. We're going to sue the governments, the churches, and anyone involved with what happened to us as children. But the judges, in their wisdom, said, I wonder if the plaintiffs would agree to settle this case. After all, there were over 13,000 cases. Cases of abuse, which I don't even want to talk about sometimes. Physical abuse, mental, emotional abuse. All kinds of abuse, and worst of all, sexual abuse. So, for 14 years, I spent running away from the abuse. I was in 3 different residential schools. I ran away from the abuse through sports. I found a path that would make me sneak out on Friday nights from school when there was a movie. Every Friday night we would have a movie. So I would sneak out as soon as the lights were turned out, went for my skates, and I would skate and skate and skate. I knew exactly just about when the movie was going to be over, and I would come back and pretend I enjoyed the movie. When somebody asked me, what did you think of the movie? Oh, I said, I think it's great, it was good. Then you had to be a studious person to be allowed on a team with good marks. So at 4:30 every morning I would wake up put blankets over my bed and drape. And I don't know where I got this, but I found a flashlight, and from 4:30 till the bell just about rang, I would study under my bed because I wanted to play. I wanted to play on the teams. So I would crawl back in my bed and pretend, oh, that was a good rest. Did you have a good rest? My bedmate would say, yeah, so did I. But I had already studied for 3 hours while they were sleeping. We had a reunion a while ago. 200 of us came back from the schools I went to. And I had to ask for forgiveness. After all, it's a part of truth and reconciliation. Just I asked His Holiness, Pope Francis, to come to Canada to give an apology to the former students. Because on the commission, we listened to over 7,000 stories of abuse. It was not all bad, I have to add, but it's been categorized as the saddest, darkest, most unknown chapter of Canadian history. What happened to those children, for example, who didn't make it home? What happens to the parents from whom the children were taken? I was taken when I was 6 years old. I only knew Cree because my grandfather, who was the chief for 33 years, he couldn't read or write English. Luckily, my grandma used to take minutes for him and to keep record of council meetings. So with that upbringing early, they encouraged me to do both, to speak another language, because Cree is the only one I knew, and I knew that first day of school we heard over and over and over again, the first thing they took away from you was your name. Maikan Moteo Nsigason. That's my name. My Ermineskin school name was number 65. And what happens to a child when you do that to them? What happens to the parents, many of whom said in tears, I couldn't protect my child, so I went to drugs and alcohol because I couldn't stand the pain of losing my child. It was not until the recent discoveries of unmarked graves that Canada began to learn about itself, its history, and what happened to us as children. So I was really blessed, and I thank Great Spirit for that I found a way out through sports. I've played hockey in 11 world championships, 5 gold medals, 2 bronze and 2 silver. I was speaking to a class like this at the university, I won't name the university, and it was a Q&A after, and the guy put his hand up. Willie, how come you're such a no good, lazy, drunken bum? I said, boy, I'm glad you got right to the point. So I said, walk my path someday for a while. Because I also played international baseball. 1 year, I never thought I'd miss snow, but 1 year I played winter ball. And also swam a lot. My roommate was a downhill ski racer, and our coach the most winningest coach in Canada, the late Claire Drake, said to us, it doesn't matter who wins for us, so long as you work very, very hard, like my grandfather told me. You must work very, very hard. Make something better for our community. And the coaches I've had, I thank all of them for making me survive. Actually, sports saved my life. When I look back and the trail I was on was not one I didn't want to be on. So I pursued a career in sports. I ended up in the United States with scholarship. And I went to the dean to find out that I would have to spend an extra year if I graduated from the University of New Mexico, because I would have been studying American law, and I would have to come back and study Canadian law. So I phoned the dean of the law school and I said, would you recognize my scholarship if I go there? First of all, if I qualify to go there. So he said, well, we have to interview you. He looked at the card and he said, oh, little child, you're an Indian, eh? I said, yes, I'm Cree. I also see you have 2 degrees in physical education. So you're a jock, eh? Yes, sir, I'm an athlete. And he said, you better be damn good, because we've never had an Indian in here, and we've never had a jock go through the school. So you better be good. So challenge was there. I said to myself, you're on. So I was the first Treaty Indian to graduate from law school in Alberta, because there were only 3 Indigenous lawyers in Canada at the time. And as I said, 5 students, 2 of whom unfortunately passed away before they graduated. So I thought I would study a general program, because I wanted to stay in hockey. And NHL phoned one day and said, we've been hiring good hockey players to be managers, but they don't necessarily become good managers just because they were good in playing. And last night, I stayed up to watch another Golden Knights hockey game. I sit on the board of the Oilers, and that should have been us. That should have been us. But that's the way it goes, from golden to golden. But first time in history, National Hockey League had an Indigenous player on each team. We had White Cloud for the Golden Knights, and we had Montour for Florida. So it's a good moment to take a pause and reflect a little bit on the negative side of sport. Because I don't know if you heard what ESPN announcer said about one of the players. I won't repeat it because it's not worth repeating. But I reflected and connected with giving the first keynote address at the UN on racism. So I just give you those two hints of what went on during the series between Edmonton and Las Vegas. So I'm very grateful that Great Spirit, our Creator, however we acknowledge our Maker, to bless me with being left-handed. Because when I went to school and they found out I was left-handed, they said I was possessed by the devil. So at recess time, I would have to stay in class and write with my right hand while my brothers and sisters were out there playing, enjoying themselves. But recently, a Great Spirit works in mysterious ways. When I was on a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, we sat with those nuns that are still alive who were teachers at these schools. And the chairperson called for a break. And the break, I shouldn't say young, nun came right up at me. "Willie, do you remember me?" she said. I looked at her and I said, "No, I'm sorry, sister, I don't." "Well, I was your grade 5 teacher, and you were such a very, very bad boy. Not one very, two very bad boys." So I thanked her actually, because I became ambidextrous. I could play sports with either hand. In fact, when I got hurt and injured, I just switched hand when I was writing. So not everything is bad. And I come back to you, graduates, because your journey is going to be similar to mine, I believe, in the international arena. And we really, really need you. You're so important. The world needs you, needs your guidance in international policy making or international governance. It takes a long time. For example, talking about governance at the international level. 27 years it took us to pass the UN Declaration on Rights of Indigenous Peoples. And one wonders why. It was because of governance. Throughout those decades, there might be a change of government in a country. A new philosophy, a new ideology comes in, and you have to start all over again. Once we had it adopted in Geneva at the UN, we had to fight 12 more years in New York at the headquarters of the United Nations to convince them that we were now humans and we had human rights. So it's been a long journey, but it's all well worth it. It's well worth it. So for you graduates, I can only say to you, thank you for the path you've chosen, because you're going to leave a trail for someone else. You're going to leave a trail of success for someone else. So I want to acknowledge your parents, your guardians, your partners, sometimes grandparents, whoever helped you, like the faculties here, the staff, the assistants, the janitors who kept the Golden Hawk place clean. All of them helped us make it through. And Madam Chancellor and Madam President, I really want to express in my own words, Bigok etamhig umagatutamik. Pintuk, Yahmana. I just want to thank you for such a great honor you bestowed on me. Because too often, the Mayan people had 4 prophecies when the long count calendar came to an end of 5,000 years old. It's a ceremony that they were doing every 400 years to keep it alive. So I was asked to join the sacred fire, and they made 4 prophecies I want to share with you. They said, things will get better. Things will get better if 4 things happen. First, women must take a more prominent role in leadership. And I see a lot of women. In fact, the first 2. So that prophecy is unraveling right in front of us. Secondly, build on the strengths of your people. Too many times we pull ourselves or each other down. It's time to lift each other up. So build on the strengths of each other. Things will get better if spirituality comes back to leadership. If spirituality comes back for leadership. I don't know if you heard the news this morning of a protest going on that there should be no prayers in school. I was on the news this morning. Well, I have a little story connected to that. I was asked at a meeting once to go and ask the chairperson if we could open the meeting with a prayer at the United Nations. And I was told, we don't pray at the United Nations. I said, well, it's not really a prayer. I'm trying to change my words. It's a thanksgiving. And how long will that take? She looked at her watch. You have 3 minutes. So I went back to the meeting and I said, we can open a meeting at the UN with a prayer. And then 4 old men had brought their drums and they were singing a sacred song. And she poked me and she said, how long is this going to take? It's already 7 minutes. And I said, you have to we can't breach in there because we have to respect our elders. But you know, the UN works with 2 bundles of rights. Conventions on economic, social, and cultural rights. Convention on civil and political rights. There's now a 6th right that happened the day after those 4 men prayed for us. Spirituality is now recognized as a 6th right. So we didn't go to the UN just to complain. We offered solutions as well. And that's only one. Another time, an old man was asked to open a meeting. By the way, every UN meeting now opens and closes with a prayer. But an old man said, who among you is going to argue for my brother, the bird that flies in the skies? Who among you is going to pray for my brother, the fish that swims in the waters? Who among you is going to pray and argue for clean air and clean water? No one has a right to environment, they said. So when the first conference was held on the environment, a chairperson came to me and said, what should I do? And I said, ask some elders to start us off in a good way. So he did. So we have now spiritual rights that everyone of humankind is blessed with, which I think is a wonderful gift that we have given through our elders. But I don't want to take any more of your time. I've taken enough, because I was trying to speak fast at one meeting one time, and I said, you know, there's two things that are wrong in my peoples. We have diabetes. And I said, what? Diabetes? I was trying to say it real fast. I meant diabetes and obesity. Another time, and this is your era, all you graduates, this is what you're going into. You're going into an era of reconciliation. What does it look like? What does it mean? Well, in my language, it means having good relations, restoring respectful relations. That's what reconciliation in my language means. But I encourage you to read the 94 calls to action that we tabled to Canada after 6.5 years. Read 94 calls to action and pick one and commit yourself to that one call that speaks to you and make a better world for all of us. So with that, I want to once again thank you very, very sincerely from the bottom of my heart for this great honoring. And to the graduates, congratulations. Work together in the future, because it's going to take all of us working together to make Canada a better place, and indeed the world a better place. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I wish I could say to the graduates, it's going to be easy. But today is the first day of the rest of your life. So work hard. And again, congratulations to all of you and all the families. Hai Naskuma.
Thank you very much, Dr. Littlechild, for those inspiring words. It's now time to begin the conferral of degrees. Will all those who are here to receive degrees and diplomas please rise as you are able? Madam Chancellor, I take great pleasure in presenting those who have successfully completed the studies prescribed, fulfilled all the conditions thereto appointed, and been recommended for degrees and diplomas by the Senate of the University.
In accordance with the laws of the Province of Ontario, and by virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor, I admit you to the degrees and diplomas as shall be announced by the presenters. Graduates, the marshals will now instruct you row by row to begin making your way backstage.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Ali Hassan Zaidi, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Global Studies and in the Department of Religion and Culture. And I have the privilege, real honor and true privilege, of reading the names of our talented graduates today. This is an exciting day for all of us, and we take pride in the accomplishments of all graduates. We welcome applause to acknowledge our graduates and show how proud you are of them. Graduates are asked to remain in their seats until all fellow graduates have received their degrees and convocation is completed. Madam Chancellor, I'm pleased to present the following for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and Religious Studies from the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies. Gustavo Enrique Pasos Maura. Dr. Mauro's dissertation title was Kirtan in the Americas, Music and Spirituality in a Transcultural Whirlpool. And he's being hooded by his advisor, Dr. Jason Nealis. Madam Chancellor, this ends the list of those presented for doctoral degrees from the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies. Madam Chancellor, as Gustavo Mauro is now a doctor, as he's receiving his degree backstage, I would like to invite him back on stage to join his academic colleagues. And he takes his rightful place beside his advisor. Madam Chancellor, I'm pleased to present the following for the degree of Master of Arts from the Faculty of Arts. Ala Alu. Salwa Hafiz. Madam Chancellor, this ends the list of those presented for master degrees from the Faculty of Arts. Madam Chancellor, I'm pleased to present the following for the degree of Bachelor of Arts honors programs from the Faculty of Arts. Iman Ibrahim. Bayan Abu Arqub. Claire Elizabeth Adams. Mariam James Agong. Jala Akbari. Nicole Emma Albrecht. Alexa Zoe Allen. Muskan Farah Arif. Mackenzie Jean Arnsby. Hannah Avery Bacon. John David Baird. Alana McDonald Back. Mateus Vanre Batista. Kendra Elaine Benninger. Josephine Anisa Bamani. Annika Kaur Bisnaut. Avital Boshi. Michaela Renee Braga. Cameron John James Busby. Evan Roderick Cameron. Joshua Malcolm Campbell. Taylor Alexis Campbell. Recipient of the Alumni Gold Medal for the Faculty of Arts, Rafael Campos Gotardo. Lily Grace Casano. Dana Emily Cervoni. Simarjit Chauhan. Madeline Marlene Judith Clare. Elena May Clark. Sarah Elizabeth Cody. Miroslava Rosia Coca Aviles. Elizabeth May Cooper. Sophia Ann Ston Cornelis. Grace Angela Correro. Elibank Darius Caleb Critchlow. Megan Ashley Crow. Davin Benjamin Harry DeMello. Emily Desiree Dornalas. Branko Damjanovic. Mai Dan. Benjamin Philip de Groot. Francesco del Giudice. Aliza de Monteverde. Nathan Devereaux. Haley Shoban Dexter. Avneet Daliwal. Pooja Daliwal. Iram Dhanani. Rachel Francis DiGiorgio. Olivet Marguerite DeLeo. Krishane Dilkumar. Razel Justin Mantua Depan. Jessica Dowell. Daryl Dean Donato. Avery Elizabeth Dowling. Joshua Stephen Dunsmore. Olivia Catherine Michelle Ellerby. Brittany Quinn Ferguson. Gina Rochelle Fertner. Alexandra H. Galloway. Colton Gall. Baldeep Gill. Harbir Gill. Haley Gerard. Eric Ian Peza Glassford. Elizabeth Jean Gogan. Sabrina Gano. Olivia Daisy Guizdala. Arden Haider Pashic. Sanjeevan Hans. Savannah Hassan. Kelsey Francis Hickman. Caitlin Hugaveen. Rachel Grace Hughes. Muhammad Muhib Imran. Samantha Kaylin Jackson. Krutarth Hilesh Jagat. Emily Ann Kaitila. Sophia Rose Kalitsis. Sumarth Kaul. Abby Grace Kellendonk. Erin Diane Kelly. Yumna Muqaddam Khan. Maryam Khairullah. Matthew Ben Kibble. Philip LaHaye. Emma Rose Lampert. Rosalie Sarah Langer. Makendal Latour. Leanne Lee. Mary Kyle Jaresa Lagado. Paige Mackenzie Lehman. Claire Anise Lillo. Ashley Ann Linton. Yiru Liu. Leonardo Santino Lombardi. Kiana Nicole Loachi. Aurora Hong Tao Lee. Jesse Dawn Marshall. Ashwarya Esther Massey. Kenyatta Mathrin. Madeline Grace May. Natalie Page McClinchy. Sean Patrick McCloskey. Samantha Martha Ann McKay. Emma Jane McKenzie. Alina Memeti. Sabrina Omar Muhammad. Alima Wakil. Adriana Molina Romero. Natasha Moran Blackman. Claire Margaret Morris. Almas Muqim. Brianna Jade Muscle. Arshvir Singh Nanua. Ethan Wade O'Leary. Recipient of the Alumni Gold Medal for the Faculty of Arts, Samantha Grace Parsons. Lysandra Josephine Pasafiumi. Achul Patel. Kennedy Taylor Pendleton. Benjamin James Penny Perot. Hannah Sue Percy. Dana Perovich. Alexander Pham. Alexia Haley Phillips. Samantha Marie Pinkney. Alicia Puruchta. Evelyn Poklitar. Julia Grace Powell. Jordan Edward Prescott. Neelash Rehal. Kira Jean Remus. Quinn John Richardson. Samuel Roman Ritter. Caitlin Elaine Robinson. Ladin Robel. Dave Deepak Rohera. Milan Roknich. Julieta Rushadovsky. Raquel Lee Rutman. Emily Sanpasot. Ashley Brooke Sampson. Rebecca Samu. Emma Sanders. Tejane Joshua Jacob Saunders. Aarti Kamlesh Sayal. Saja Sehme. Megan Olivia Schnarr. Caitlin Nicole Sanflaben. Daniel Turner William Seymour. Anuva Arya Sharma. Parth Sharma. Sanya Sharma. Allison Rose Shaw Linger. Evan Yin Shea. Madeline Shoje. Zain Muhammad Siddiqui. Abigail Rose Estrella Silva. Shanika Sivakaran. Drayden James Gary Sloat. Taylor Smith. Japeet Kaur Sohal. Owen Michael Somerville. Victoria Sordi. Zaria Tave Stone. Jonathan Tamit Zoglu. Daniela Christina Tanalia. Aislinn Grace Thomas. Isabella Josephine Trata. Andrew Benjamin C. Jillian Rose Moore Turvey. Massimo Vaglica. Nathan Ryan Van Slyke. Riley Michael Vanderlip. JC Khan Vai. Mithre Vijayakulan. Victoria Anne Marie Viveros. Bridget Lee Vulashert. Navya Walia. Rise Lee Grace Warren. Emily Wasmansdorf. Chance Corden. Benjamin Isaac Weinstein. Jack Austin Weinstein. Matthew Jacob White. Avery Mackenzie Wilson. Nathan Wong. Marin Elise Wiley. Charlotte Elizabeth Young. Alicia Yurova. Alana Felicia Zeidener. Parna Zairi. David Michael Zivkovic. Madam Chancellor, this ends the list of those presented for the degree of Bachelor of Arts Honours Program from the Faculty of Arts. Madam Chancellor, I'm pleased to present the following for the degree of Bachelor of Arts from the Faculty of Arts. Mariam Binti Adrian. McKenna Elise Barr. Kiona Bel Remy. Malik Dinley. Alameda Valerie Fasasin. Patrick John Hannon. Dylan James Krajewski. Priscilla Lee. Jack Anthony Mukherjee. In Young Park. Peyton Danielle Pranger. Matea Christine Pritchard. Andres Sotelo Gonzalez. Taiba Sayed. Madam Chancellor, this ends the list of those presented for degrees from the Faculty of Arts.
Madam Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate, I request you to confer degrees in absentia to the eligible candidates who are unable to be present today.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor, I confer degrees in absentia to the eligible candidates who are unable to be present today. I would now like to present the celebratory alumni welcome video made for the class of 2023 by the Wilfrid Laurier University Alumni Association.
Congratulations! You did it! You're a Laurier grad, and now you can look back with pride and look to your future with excitement. Today isn't just about receiving your degree. It's also about celebrating the journey you took to get here. It's about remembering your first day on campus, your first Laurier friend, your first class. It's about thinking back on those late night study sessions, your favorite profs, and all the memories you made here. It's about the times you faced new challenges and pushed through. It's about how much you grew and how much you learned. It wasn't always easy, but you did it. You've earned this moment. Enjoy it and be proud of all you've achieved. And while your journey is far from over, remember, no matter where you go or what the future brings, you are a Golden Hawk for life. You are alumni for life. You are Laurier for life. Stay connected, stay involved, and most of all,
stay golden.
Stay golden.
Stay golden.
Stay golden.
Stay golden.
stay golden. Stay golden.
Thank you to the Alumni Association for providing that celebratory and inspirational message. I now invite recent Laurier music graduate Ben Wallace to the stage to lead us in the singing of the national anthem. Please rise as you are able.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Ben. Following the ceremony, everyone is invited to take photographs and commemorate this special occasion in the atrium. Congratulations once again to all our graduates, and thank you all for coming and joining us today. Please remain at your seats until the recessional is completed. Convocation is dismissed.